All right, hey everybody, we are live. I'm Dennis Stoica with Modern Era Warriors. Welcome back for another podcast today. We have two people on today. It's our first podcast where I've had multiple persons on. So today we are with Miloki Flow, Alberto Robayo, and Ricardo Bayona. So guys, it's hugely important for me. This is my 8th month doing podcasts, and what I want out of the podcast, at least for the first little bit, right, is to bring people into the podcast that match what I do, integrated warrior training. And a piece of that is Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? And I've trained with both of you. I wish I was still doing some of that, more of that training at times too, right? And maybe we will see each other. I'm hoping to come up to Philadelphia soon too to get some training in. Some people I know are training with Alberto up there too, right? That are in my Krav world as well. So it's usually important for me to be able to give back and give my community, right, a piece of what we do, which is also out there. So if they're in Florida, or if they're in Philadelphia or wherever else, right, that they can go visit and do some training. Because I also love, no matter where I'm at in the world, if I'm on vacation or something too, I try to find that spot to go vacation and still train. So thank you both for being here. Greatly appreciate you.
Thank you, Danny. It's great to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while since the last time you were here training. Yeah. So hopefully you can make it down sometime soon. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
yes, thank you, Danny, so much for having us. Appreciate it.
Great.
Opportunity. It's good to see you, man. Here you're looking forward to coming up and visit in Philly. That'll be great to have you.
Yeah. No more excuses of COVID. Plenty of people are back to training, right? It can be done safely, and part of it, keeping up our immune systems and stuff, right? And part of that training is keeping us stress-free, anxiety-free, healthy, right? By doing that training too. So very important for people to do that. So, hey guys, let's kick it off. I got 10 questions for you, and we'll try to work through them and get them done. And intention is to do a 30-minute talk. I'm going to start out by asking you, who is and we'll split this one in two. We'll let you both have the discussion, right? Who is Alberto Robayo? Who is Ricardo Bayona? And what is your purpose, passion, and principles? What sets your hair on fire? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go.
So go ahead, Ricardo.
So yeah, the way I see life, I think that there's a reality where we're at right now, our present self, and there is like a future self that we want to become. And really, my purpose is to become that desired self. And while I'm doing that, I really liked, and I've been helping others, empowering others through my passion, like for instance, Jiu-Jitsu, to kind of like do the same, to be their desired selves. And I think that more than who am I, or who are you, or who is anybody else, it's more about like, who are you becoming? Because things are always in motion. I believe that even though I might not be my best today, what's really important is that when tomorrow comes, I make a new decision towards that desired self. So basically, it's all in motion, and it's very important for me, who am I becoming, making those decisions every day that eventually become habits and eventually, hopefully, will make me be my desired self. So that's
awesome.
That's kind of like my purpose, yeah.
And then also passing it on to others. I heard you say too, right?
Yeah, I think that
you're in touch with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So it's very important to just be to have empathy and to kind of be able to put yourself in the place of others. And if you're in a position where you can help, of course, doing that gives me great fulfillment. And I think that it's part of my desire self, of the person that I want to be and I want to become every day. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Alberto, what sets your hair on fire? What's your purpose, passion, and principles in life?
So what motivates me is my family, my kids, my wife, and I believe we're here to enjoy life and make the best we can of the life we have, and in many ways use our life to serve God and a higher purpose, and through that service or a life of service also serve others and make other people's lives better, more joyful, more valuable.
Awesome.
Therefore, it's important that as we move through life, we guard ourselves in what we say, how we behave, how we treat other people, and if we conduct ourselves in that manner, we can achieve or get close to accomplishing excellence in the things we do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it does lead to serving others, right? Helping yourself, helping your family, and ultimately being of service to others. It leads to helping others, right? So we're working on ourselves. Like I refer to it, Ricardo, like as 1% better every day in every way. Just like you said, I might not be great today, might have my off day, but we come back tomorrow, right? And serving others too, like Alberto with his family, and you with your other people that we surround ourselves with, students, things of that nature. So I'm going to move on to question 2.
Definitely.
And I know the answer. That's why I had to ask this question. All right. And because I think it's just amazing. And if people don't know the answer to this question, it is just awesome. So Miloki Flow. What is Miloki Flow, Jiu-Jitsu and movement? And then part 2 to this, right? And so maybe you guys want to split it or whatever. I don't care. But one start with it or whatever. But how did it get its name? That's what I find awesome and amazing from learning from you guys.
I'll answer the first question, which is like, what is Miloki Flow? And Alberto and I intended to make a system for empowering people. That's what we want to do. And through our self-defense programs and movement systems, we do that every day. We empower people. We make people more conscious of their basic movements, things like posture, having a firm handshake and looking in the eye when they talk to you. Stuff like very basic stuff that just changes, people's lives. And of course, if you go deeper into the movement and the complex of Jiu-Jitsu, then there's just no end to how much empowerment, confidence, and that it splits definitely over from the mat over to every area of their lives, and that's what we want to do. We want to empower families and kids and just everybody that trains.
And you said it in your prior question, right? How I do anything is how I do everything, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely.
That's what I learned.
Awesome.
That's what I learned from one of my teachers.
Yep.
When I was cleaning the bathrooms back in Los Angeles, in at the Gracie Academy, Julian told me one time that my front choke really sucked, that it wasn't good. And I was like, how do you know? Like, we haven't trained in such a long time. And he's like, well, I know because the bathroom is dirty. And I'm like, okay. And how is that related to my front choke? And he said, well, follow me, I'll show you. So he took me to the bathroom. He showed me the bathroom. It was dirty. It was my responsibility to keep it clean. So he said, well, kid, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So I'm only assuming that since you're not doing the bathroom well, then your front choke might not be as good either. And I understood, so it's a cool little story about it, but yeah.
Great, something to share. And I've gotten that from Hiran over the past so many times as well. So
it is very true. Yeah,
Alberto.
People that are beyond what you do, you could be like the highest level athlete and be sacrificing and having a lot of discipline and getting great results and being very proud of what you do, which is great. And that really impresses me and kind of motivates me, but also it motivates me when I go to a restaurant and the busboy who I was also a busboy back in the day, who just has a smile and does his job or her job with such a pleasure and just they love what they do. So that's what really motivates me, to see people that regardless of what they do it with love and with just proud of what they do. They
give their all, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Alberto, tell everybody the story behind the tape and Miloki Flow with the name Miloki Armlaki.
Yes, we started training in 2000. Uh, we before that we were doing kickboxing, and when we started getting into jiu-jitsu, at that time we were living in Colombia, and the information that you could access to learn jiu-jitsu was very limited. So we were lucky enough to get our hands on a VHS tape, and that tape was Mario Sperry teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And one of the moves in the tape was the Miloki. So we thought, well, that's the name of the move, and it's in Portuguese. So let's learn the Miloki. And we named the move the Miloki, and we learned the Miloki, and we called it the Miloki for many years until I moved from Colombia to Australia. In Australia, I started learning Jiu-Jitsu at a Gracie school in Sydney. And at that school, my teacher was a black belt from Brazil, and his English was pretty good, but he still had an accent. And sometimes I would hear him say Miloki, and I was like, wait, this is the first time in a few months I hear him say or refer to this move as the Miloki. So I placed, close attention to when he referred to this move again, and I noticed that he wasn't saying Miloki, he was saying arm lock. Now, with the Portuguese accent, there is a tendency of placing an I after certain words. So he would say army locky, and when they say it fast, it sounds Miloki. So I felt very silly and laughed at myself for confusing the name for all those years.
Yeah.
So that night when I arrived home, I called Ricardo. I think I called you, and I was like, "Dude, you're gonna laugh so hard." uh, you know how we called the arm lock the Miloki for so long, and then I explained the whole story to him,
Yeah.
and it was very funny. And then if you fast forward to 2012, when we were looking for a name for the our academies and the program we wanted to put in place, we thought that Miloki was very representative of our journey in Jiu-Jitsu from the beginning, and the ignorance we all have at the beginning of any adventure or journey or endeavor, to this place where we were black belts from the Gracie Academy. We never thought we would get to train there or meet the Gracies or even live in the United States. And we're very grateful for that opportunity, and being in this country is a blessing, and all the opportunities that have come out of that journey is just, to me personally, is mind-blowing to see it and think about it. And I think the name Miloki puts all of that into context.
That's awesome.
The
I
thing is that
guess.
if I can
Yeah,
add
please,
one
Ricardo.
thing,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
is that I think the name Miloki was perfect because when we hired like a designer to do the logo, and it's this little fist, but it's not. If you've seen it, it's not really. It's like almost fruity. It's like it's not even like aggressive. It's not like the regular shark or the pit bull or anything. From the other schools. It's just very fruity, very like non-assuming, and just very friendly. And basically, that's kind of like our concept. We want to reach people that actually need like real people that be empowered, that may have that kid is very into the cell phone and into the iPad, and is never having the posture and looking up, and he's a little bit off for moving, and we want to help him, like real people. And we want that people to go to our gym and not be or feel like threatened or afraid. It's just more like a community that everybody wants to like really help each other. So that's
Help each
kind
other
of
out.
fit perfect with our concept and with what we wanted.
That builds. You're not there to beat up the guy that's your friend in the dojo, right? We're all here to build each other up.
To push each other up.
To grow.
Correct.
Yep.
That's
Awesome.
the idea. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right.
You don't need to like really train to kill yourself and your partner to get good at self-defense. You need
100%.
to actually do the opposite so that you can keep it longer and be consistent for a longer period of time without getting injured, and you'll get better results that way. 100%. Like I see
100%. 100%. All right. To each of you, a little bit quicker question: who has or does inspire you, and why? Who has or does inspire you, and why?
In my case, a lot of people, a lot of authors from books that I like, and mentors. But in general, like what I was saying before, like people that just do what they do, regardless of what that is, and they do it with
Sure.
passion and they do it proud. That really inspires me. Like in everyday life, when I see people like that, I just connect immediately, and I just feel that they're so lucky to be doing whatever it is that they do, but the attitude is the important thing, because at the end you don't always the same. You're always evolving in life, and you might find something different, but it is not about what you do. I always have believed that it's about how you do it. That's what's important. That's what really inspires me, when people do it with full heart. Yeah.
Cool. Alberto, who inspires you and why?
In terms of
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ricardo.
No, I was just gonna say that in terms of authors, like I really like, for instance, I like Miguel Ruiz from like Toltec Wisdom, like Four Agreements. I like Carlos Castañeda. I've been following mentors like Sam Ovens that I really like. I'm following right now. But more than anything, just the regular day people that are passionate about just whatever they do in life.
Awesome.
That's what really inspires me.
Perfect. Alberto?
Yes, regarding that question, I think it is important to connect things in your life with your everyday life, meaning joy and happiness comes from things that you do every day, and things that are small and easily like replicated or easily to do all over again. Instead of the big, the big vacation or the big purchase, which happens rarely, if we place value on the things we do every day, it's more attainable, the happiness or the joy of the everyday. In a similar manner, if we find people that inspire us every day, that we're around every day, or close to them, I guess it's easier to keep that inspiration or motivation. So in my case, something that motivates me every day is my kids.
The kids.
Of course, and because I have to be a good example to them, so they can be the best person and have the best tools to become individuals and self-sufficient eventually. And inspiration is my wife, and it blows my mind every day to see everything and all the things she does, and how hard she works, and how they are a force
multiplier
within the family. Yeah, within the family to create order and peace and harmony, and kind of steer the family in the right direction. And that's why they're like the nurturers. Outside of that, my parents are a big inspiration, and how hard they work to raise me and my brother, and to set a good example. And other than that, I would have to say Gracie has contributed so many things to my life, and also when I had my first son, he was a big help on understanding how to raise a good kid, and he always still does give me tips on the family side, on the personal side, on how to run my school. So I appreciate that a lot. And authors and mentors, I would say I like a lot Jordan Peterson, and I'm reading his last book right now. I think I think the amount of people that he's been able to help through his books is it's wonderful, and if you can find that in your job and your everyday life to help somebody, even if it's just one person with what you do, I think that's a huge accomplishment, and it's a great way to serve others and find meaning in what you do every day. And then another person that I respect a lot is Dennis Prager. I think he brings a lot of wisdom and sense to things uh, like the ultimate issues of life. Like why are we here? What is the meaning of creation and having a family and your job and
all great things. I like to refer to that in my coaching as having your own personal PhD program too. Books I may read, or podcasts, right, or a course I take, or studying jiu-jitsu under you, right? That's personal PhD growth, right? And I loved what I heard too, because the daily habits, right? Because growth doesn't happen in a day; it happens daily, right? We do need to be working daily and be around those people, and great to be around people that inspire us, etc. I'm gonna. I got two follow-up questions, or two additional questions that we have here, and maybe we'll split them up. So, one is for a beginner, like a type of person coming into jiu-jitsu, and one is more experienced. So we'll split this one up. You can decide who wants to take the first one. But what advice do you have for adult beginners? And then if you want to talk more specifically about any special type of category of a person, women, police, people that are out of shape, perhaps, if you want to even talk about something like that. But any beginner coming into your program, who wants to take that one?
I'll go for it.
Go for it, Ricardo.
Alberto.
For the beginner, I would say what I would recommend is, if you're lucky enough to live in an area where there are several schools, try a different amount of schools. Don't settle for the first school you go to, and find which one is the best for you. Find which one you feel the most welcome at. Find the one that you believe offers you something close to what you're looking for, and set a goal for your training, a short-term goal. It could be a year, and then a 5-year goal, so that you have something to aim for. But the most important part is to go for it and take the jump, And one of the best things you can do throughout your life is trying to always be a beginner at something. So a personal goal of mine is I want to try to be a beginner at something new every year, and it's a great challenge, and it's a great way to also keep like the spice of life alive. And that would be just my advice for a beginner is find this. Not every school is right for you, for everybody. So find the school and the teacher and the environment that is right for you and what you want. And
Love
it might
Alberto.
change. It might be that the first year you love it, or when you get your blue belt, that school is not providing you with what your next goals are. So you might need to change. It's not ideal, of course, but you need to be true to yourself and what you want to get out of something, especially something like jiu-jitsu, which it's a big investment of time, money, effort, sweat.
And teamwork, right? Working with their team too. Great. Awesome.
Correct.
Ricardo, what advice would you have for an experienced person that might move down to Florida where you're at, perhaps, and that walks in your gym, or not? Just anyone online, right? This is going to be everywhere. My students or anybody. What advice do you have for people that are experienced? That's not their first day necessarily, or first year in jiu-jitsu.
I think that jiu-jitsu offers such a big array of movements and sequences and styles. for the practitioner that has been in the game for a while, for it to be still be interested and still be motivated. And I try to do this myself, is to always keep exploring new things, and it doesn't have to be a new technique. It could be a new way of connecting two techniques that you already know, like making your own little system and realizing, okay, well, when this fails, most of the time I do this. So maybe I'll just make a little game out of like these two and add a third one. And then you start, getting these cycles. And when you start trying to spar, instead of being so obsessed with just getting a tap, which will probably drive you to do that arm lock that you've been doing for the last 3 years or 5 or whatever, and you're already really good at. And not saying that you're not going to get better at it. Of course, you can always get better at the things you're already good at. But the truth is that it would be good to have some training sessions, just exploring and trying new things, because that will expand your game. That will give you new horizons and new motivation to, go back at it. Because at the end, I've been doing it for like 20 years, and I now realize that I don't care so much about the result. I just care about doing it, like just being on the mat and just that for me, that's everything, that's like just moving around and just playing around with it, so don't take yourself too seriously. Whenever you have off days, it's okay, we all have them, and just worry more about just being on the mat, keep at it, and just exploring new things.
Part of who you are and what you do, right? It's just one of those things that we do, part of who we are and what we do for our growth. Great.
Yeah, for sure.
2 more questions. We only have a few minutes left, so I'll throw the next one out, and then we have a fun one to finish with, all right? So my primary is rally-based self-defense and fitness, right? We also throw firearms in there and stuff too. And other people might do stand-up martial arts or Muay Thai and whatever, any other traditional martial arts. So what advice do you have for those type of people that may be doing, some jiu-jitsu or, another martial art too? Or I get those guys that I do CrossFit, right? I don't need any of that too. So do you have any advice you get the big smile out of Ricardo for that one, right? Do you have any advice for anybody that fits that?
I think that, I'm biased, of course, because I do jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
I think that having a strong ground game could be very beneficial in terms of self-defense, but not everybody that trains for self-defense. Some people train for sport. Some people train for just a hobby, and different motivations and wants, and they're all valid. But my point being that because it is a self-defense art, then in terms of self-defense, I think it's important to have a good ground system. But beyond that, I believe that people that train from day one in different, let's say mixed martial arts, like mixing different disciplines, they have a great advantage in the sense that they have learned everything combined. So basically, they are never in one mindset. Like for me, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu, and then on Thursdays that we put the gloves on, I'm gonna do a little more like boxing or a little more striking, and then I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu. So I'm changing mindsets. But if I have learned everything at the same time, combined, then I'll just be doing it, and I'll just flow mindlessly from standing to the ground and even to weapons or whatever that might be. So I see the benefit on just learning, and I think that athletes that learn MMA nowadays, even though MMA is not self-defense, but it's a good comparison. They just learn all the games, so they're just good at everything, even though it's not geared towards self-defense, it's still a good analogy, I think.
Yeah, I like to throw out too to people that are just doing the stand-up martial art too, that I believe that just like you said, everyone needs a good ground game. So I do think adding good blue to purple belt to anybody else's martial arts they're doing is just another add, right? If not, you are a fish out of water. If God forbid you get thrown there. So
I agree.
All right, for time purposes, I have one last question. Right? It's I like to throw out a fun question to everybody. Who wins in the octagon? A 6 foot, 400-pound silverback gorilla, or a 10-foot, 1,500-pound Kodiak bear? Alberto?
How old are they?
They're both the same. I don't know because I don't know how long each of those live, but they're both in their prime.
Both in their prime. Who knows Jiu-Jitsu?
I have a good story. I have a good story about it. Is that the bear is just like so much bigger than the gorilla, right?
Yeah.
And one time, but like so much bigger, right? Like 3 times as big. And one time, yeah, probably. So one time I was at the gym in LA, and I was probably, I don't know, probably a brown belt, and this huge purple belt came in. He wasn't from our school; he was just visiting, but he was just a 300-pound guy, or something like that. He's really huge, and I thought it would be interesting, and so the header and hitter and everybody on the mat to just be mounted by him, and because he was a purple belt, so he knew what he was doing, but he also was huge. And of course I got underneath him for the, I don't know, whatever we were doing, 5 minutes or whatever, and I couldn't escape. And I just couldn't escape, and that never happened to me before. I could escape with a good amount of time, probably most people, and that time I was very frustrated. I went and talked to Henry and I said, dude, like, what is happening? Like, I spent my whole day here training, and I am fairly good. Why can I escape? He's a purple belt, I'm a brown belt, I should be able to escape. And he just smiled and he said, dude, you need to realize that this guy also knows Jiu-Jitsu. And he's just so huge that when you're both black belts, he will probably beat you every time. So it's just like a strong realization, right? Because like you don't think that. You think that, well, if I train hard enough, if I do it, every day, if I whatever I have to do, I'll win. And this sometimes the weight difference is just so huge that no, you won't. But again, nowadays I realize that it's just not about that. It's not about if I can beat him or he can beat me. It's about just doing it. It's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. Yeah.
It's about doing it and just doing it. We just lost Alberto's feed. Hopefully he'll be back. We're almost done here. But I love what Alberto said too, right? Though, because the guy that knows jiu-jitsu wins. And like you said too, sometimes being bigger, stronger, larger, right, does matter. But we also know that the technical aspect of jiu-jitsu helps people survive violent confrontations, right? And it allows that smaller, weaker person to overcome that larger, bigger, stronger person. But when you do have jiu-jitsu wins, I guess, right? Jiu-jitsu wins, Ricardo?
Exactly.
Yeah. Alberto, I hope you heard that. We lost you just for a second. But hey, guys, I got 3:33. We try to keep this to 30 minutes, so we will wrap up. I can't thank you both enough. I'll keep you on just a minute or two afterwards. But anything you want, like Ricardo, where are you at in Miami, outside of Miami? Please let everybody know.
Yeah, so our gym here in Miami actually is in Key Biscayne, which is an island that is very, very close to Brickell, which is just very close to downtown, so not too far from the central area of Miami, let's say 15 minutes away. It's a beautiful island. People live here, but people come for vacation. So if you ever want to like come down here to Florida, to Miami, give us a visit, come and roll. We'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, beautiful area. Beautiful area to vacation. I've been down there too. So add it again. No matter where I go on vacation, I find that place to train. Alberto, let everybody know about Philadelphia area.
Yes. So my school is in Narberth, Pennsylvania. It's near Philly. We're a suburb in Philly. So if you're familiar with that area, we are in the Lower Merion area. And same thing, if you are ever in Philly, feel free to come and check us out and jump into a class or open mat. We also, I want to break the news here. We're looking to open a school in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yes.
That's where I'm right now. And that's the mission that we have at present, is to open a school here. And, it's looking pretty good. So we'll keep everybody posted on that development.
You'll have the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast covered, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Hey, everybody, thanks for being here today, listening to Alberto and Ricardo from Miloki Flow. We greatly appreciate you tuning in and listening in, right? Visit the rest of the podcasts that we have, both on our YouTube page, Modern Era Warriors YouTube page, our Facebook pages as well, also on our online university, modernerwarriors.com. Thanks for being here, everybody. You know the drill, right? Train hard, train smart, train safe, train real, and train for life. Take care, everybody.
Thank you,
It's a
Dennis.
pleasure, Dennis. Thank you.